Well, I've got some. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, come on, you speak,
And then you.
I'll catch up with that.
Cool. Okay. So we're going back to Liverpool. I like this geographical, moving around.
Yeah.
Who wants a nicely curated agenda?
Okay. So this is Cairn Street in the Granby Four Streets back in Liverpool. Right. And I thought it was worth just kind of this photograph was taken probably about 4 years ago, so you can see some of the community planting stuff, guerrilla gardening stuff that had been going on then. But this was taken at around about the time that I started to get involved. And the reason I got involved, I guess, I've lived in Liverpool a long time, but I moved to the area in 2009, so I lived just around the corner from this. And Ronnie Hughes, who's already been mentioned, is quite a well-known local chap, really, gets involved in stuff. He mentioned he'd been invited to run a couple of workshop visioning days for the area, because it was just at the point as well where the housing market renewal, we knew it was going to end. It had been obviously massively opposed by a lot of people in this area. It was another top-down regeneration scheme that was pretty unwelcome for a lot of people. At the same time, I was starting to get involved in Home Baked in Anfield, but that was on a professional basis. So that was working with a kind of originally an art project that became a community land trust and bakery. And I became friends with Ed Gowan, who is the chap that Matt mentioned before, who set up the kind of predecessor co-op to Terrace 21 and was determined to do something about all these empty houses. So that's one of the community market days. I got roped in to do things like help write planning depositions to the local planning committee when a couple of the houses were being demolished. So that was kind of my involvement to begin with. And then in 2013, after a bit of a hiccup, interregnum, when a private developer was basically handed the entire area to redevelop, and then that kind of all fell apart as we thought it might. We went with the Community Land Trust and various others to the City Council and basically made the proposal in this diagram here, in that previous solutions for the area had all been about one-size-fits-all, overarching, top-down. This was about different organisations working together to come up with a patchwork of solutions, of which CLT is part, of which we're part. There's a private kind of social investor, there are local housing associations, and the idea is we all collaborate. And the little red line there is the 5 houses that Terrace 21 have got. We're working on a mutual home ownership model, which I will not go into now, but if anyone's interested, there's loads of stuff on the Lilac website about it. And the other main aim of our project is to prove that you can make terraced houses, Victorian terraced houses, fit for the 21st century. Because in my day job, I spend a lot of time at Urbed doing work around retrofit and getting terraced houses to a kind of 2050 carbon compliant standard, which is also much healthier and more comfortable. And we'd quite like that. Also because it links to the affordability agenda as well, which the Mutual Home Ownership Society does too, because what we'd like to do is for our bills not to escalate exponentially into the future. Those are the plans of our 5 houses, so they haven't quite come out right on there, but what I suppose people get very excited talking to us about stuff, and it feels a little bit weird and intimidating because we haven't actually built anything yet. We've been working on this for quite a while, but we haven't built anything yet. And people talk about self-build and community-led housing as the solution to the housing crisis. And I think it might be part of the solution, but I think talking about it as the solution is actually a little bit insane. And that's because there are various barriers that we've come across as we've been working on this, and they apply to the CLT, I think, as well in a lot of cases, and they definitely apply to Home Baked in Anfield. First of which is really property values and land values, which in Liverpool we have the opposite problem to London, where the property values aren't actually high enough for us to be able to borrow against them to do the works that we need to do to make the homes habitable. So there's an issue there. Upfront costs and risk associated with that. Why would you put thousands of pounds of money into something that might never happen? Because it does cost money to get things up to the stage where they're shovel ready, as they call it. Local authority resourcing. So at the moment, a lot of these homes are owned by Liverpool City Council. They don't have the money to do anything with them at the moment. They need to transfer them to someone else. But they are massively under-resourced, and one of the things that's really holding us up at the moment is the time it takes to get the asset transfer through the City Council, because they have about 2 lawyers for the whole city at the moment. Things like regulation, the Financial Conduct Authority, their resources and understanding of co-ops. It took us 6 months to get registered because they didn't know what an MHOS was, even though they'd registered 2 or 3 previously, and it just seemed like the unit on mutuals in the FCA is massively underfunded, under-resourced. Legal models and understanding. Obviously, we're dealing with some relatively niche, relatively new in some cases, definitely with the MHOS model stuff, but there's definitely opportunities for sorting that out. And then capital finance, which, when I've gone through and sorted about it's kind of possible to sort out the capital finance, which has gone off the bottom there, if you sort these other ones out first. And they're the kind of harder ones to tackle. The way that we have so far been able to get to where we are and get across some of the barriers is that within the co-op, I'm an architect, one of the other people involves a planner, we're quite well educated, we kind of can go and speak to the council in the same language as them. Expecting that every self-build project can do that is totally unrealistic. In the case of Home Baked in Anfield, the way they've got around it is by being an art project, so they fly under the radar in some respects. And the CLT, I think, have got around it with connections, and also the connections with that Assemble and tapping into those different worlds. So, solution, some perspective, please. It's great. I'm really looking forward to one day living there, but it's not a solution to the entire housing crisis. I think there are some other things going on that are affecting the housing crisis more. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but this is my colleague, David Rudlin, his proposal for a garden city. What a lot of people get excited about with garden cities is the tree-lined streets. The thing that's really interesting in that proposal is about capturing the land value for public good, essentially. So I think land value is kind of where it's at. And just to be a bit more positive, this is the CLT's 3 houses, which have just finished in the last week. Yeah, so they've now got 8 houses that have been done, so that's a positive. So, Michael, sorry.
Right, Michael.
Can't do it.
5
Okay.
minutes.